Welcome to another episode of the Humble Hustle Podcast. We are your hosts, Nick Jones and Kayla Ebner.
Hello, hello.
So today we are talking about how to attract clients, how to build a portfolio that attracts clients. Had to refer to the notes there.
You got it.
So I guess to start off, I want to say that it's not the portfolio you want to start with first. It's actually your positioning. So basically what I mean by that is your technical skill sets, your style and aesthetic, aka your branding, I guess, and your niche. There's a couple other things that might fall in there as well, but I'd say those are kind of the big ones. And so if you don't have those things dialed before you work on the portfolio, it's not going to be worth it, because the whole point in the portfolio is essentially to be able to leverage that work of yours to get new clients. And basically, if you don't have good branding, if you don't have good technical skills like with your camera and editing, things like that, then your portfolio work is not going to be good. And basically, if your portfolio work sucks, you're not going to get clients. You need to be very, very honest and humble yourself in this process. That's one of the most important things about, I guess, almost rebranding and really focusing on your portfolio. You have to humble yourself. You need to be honest with how good you actually are, not just how good you think you are. How good are you really? Because if your work is not good enough, it's not going to work, or it's not going to be worth it.
Right.
Basically, something Paul Weaver used to say is, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you are not ranking yourself an 8 or higher in terms of confidence in your portfolio, then you have work to do.
Mm-hmm. And I would argue that, like, how many of us are really there? Like, there's always going to be ways that you can be better. And especially towards the beginning, I think, like you said, humbling yourself and just taking a step back and asking for feedback, because that's what I did in the beginning of when I was starting my business. All of the work that I had done from my previous company and even just personally, I did not want to display that. I had no desire to project that and use that in my portfolio. One, because I didn't feel like it was mine per se. It was for someone else's company. But also because I knew I wanted to get to a whole nother level. So essentially I was starting from scratch. And that's not easy to do, but I think it's important to reposition yourself and just say, okay, like, where do I see myself in the next 5 years? Niching down can be hard, but maybe think of what are a few things that you want to focus on and start there. So like for me in the beginning, I know I really loved the gym and I knew I liked working with restaurants. So that's where I started to focus all of my attention, was gyms to work with in the area and what restaurants could I work with in the area, and just start somewhere.
Right. Yeah, no, when it comes a side tangent on like niching down, I guess, because it is a big part of the positioning. I do think it's going to be more efficient to niche down, and the process of, attracting clients while you leveraging your portfolio, that whole process is going to be easier when you are niche down. I'm not saying it's impossible to do it without niching down. You can definitely kind of do it all, but it will be more difficult.
Yeah, so kind of to play devil's advocate though, what if you don't know exactly what you want to do? Like, what would you tell someone who doesn't know?
I would say to try things.
Yeah.
Until you do know.
Yeah. And we'll get more into like a couple strategies that we've both used to kind of build up a portfolio. But I was in kind of that position where I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do yet. And I still think I have quite a wide array of things that I work in, but it's mostly, I would say I'm focused towards video for businesses and just like really infiltrating and getting to know a business and a company or an organization and displaying what they do in video form and photo too. But yeah, I think you can do it without knowing exactly what you want to niche down into. It just takes a little bit more strategy, I think.
Yeah. And like, if you don't know, that's totally fine. Like, I didn't know right away. It took me years to figure out what I wanted. And there's a very, very good chance that in a year from now, I might want to change it up and totally shift gears. And that's fine. Like you can change your mind and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know what I was going to say. So I guess
what else in positioning?
When it comes to positioning, it's really all just about making sure that your skills are up to par before you really try and work on the portfolio. Because like I said, if your portfolio work isn't good, that's due to your skill level. And that's something that you can tangibly improve on. You can get better by learning new skills.
Right.
So step one is to learn and get better at the technical skills.
YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, you can
love YouTube.
Do YouTube, you can do online courses, you can do everything, but
yeah, online courses get expensive. So I would say like do your research and make sure you're picking one that really fits where you want to go.
Right. And they're expensive for a reason because they work. I mean, unless like there are some that are scams for sure. So
yeah, be careful. Be very careful.
But they definitely are worth it, in my opinion. You could easily pay a couple $1,000s and it's totally worth it, in my opinion, because you're learning things firsthand from their experience who you know are successful. So I think that knowledge alone is totally priceless.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get the skills, then it's time to actually work on the portfolio. So there are, I guess, what direction do you want to take it? We could talk about like how to figure out what kind of type of content to put in your portfolio. So like if you don't have a certain type of content, just go create it.
Yeah.
Type thing.
I would say like, so say you've nailed your positioning, you know what direction you want to go in, but you don't have any sort of content to like reflect where you want to go. So in my example, like I want to work with this gym, but I don't have any gym content. So how do we get some gym content?
You do it for free.
Yep.
Like start free. Don't do it for a long time, but free work is the best place to start because I mean, we've said this many times, but it works. So especially when you are trying to enter a niche where you don't have a lot of examples in, you really don't have any leverage. You have no say. So you can't really, it'd be more difficult to get it as a full on job because they have no idea how you would do it and like how good you'd be at it. So if you trust your skills, which you should by now because you've done your proper positioning, then you should be completely confident in going into a gym and being able to shoot really high quality content, photo, video, whatever it may be. So you basically would go in there, talk to the manager, whoever's in charge, and basically explain to them that you want to work with them, explain that you might want to work like on a long-term partnership, becoming a content partner with them, and essentially give them your entire plan, but then say, okay, we can start with me doing this one thing for you for free. Start on a small initial shoot, maybe come in for a day, half day, and then you just shoot a handful of photos, handful of little videos. And these initial shoots are crucial because they might not be paying you a lot or you might be doing it for free. But these are the shoots that will matter more than the ones that would potentially follow because these are the ones that will make them make the decision.
Yep.
So if you half-ass it on this free shoot because you're like, oh, I'm not getting paid, I'm not really going to try, that's a huge mistake because then they will see the final content. It's not going to be your best. And then they might notice that it's not as good as they need it to be. It could be better if you tried harder, but since you were doing it for free, you didn't, then that could lose you the client. So on these initial shoots, whether you're getting paid or not, it is incredibly important to put in all your effort.
Yeah.
And like I've done many of these initial shoots that this is how I structure things. I always start off with my clients for like a small initial shoot with just on a smaller scale, smaller deliverables. And for the most part, I'm getting paid like a fraction of what the full retainer would be. But I give it all my effort, 110%. And I go so hard because I want to ensure them and just basically reassure them that I am going to be able to produce the proper, quality level moving forward.
Right.
So if they got my content back and they weren't impressed, then they wouldn't want to sign a long-term retainer. So I make sure that the initial shoot work is some of my best work with them right off the gate, because I know that this is what the decision is going to be based off of.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing that I was going to say about doing a free shoot or a first shoot with a potential client is take it as an opportunity.
Yes.
Because this is a chance for you to really experiment and find your style and really crush it. And if you're not taking it as seriously because it's a free shoot, you're not going to reach that full potential and it won't convert into any real paying jobs. So take it as an opportunity.
Yeah. And also take it seriously. And I mean this in a few ways. So you need to take yourself and your business seriously. When you're doing these free shoots, do not be afraid to put your own money into this. You might not want to, but you need to, be a serious business and be able to produce the high quality content you can. So if you're not getting paid, and you would, your content would be better if you had maybe an assistant or even a third person helping you or a model. Spend your own money and don't be afraid to do that, to get a model, to hire a second shooter, to rent out a studio space, do whatever you need to do, whether it costs you like $500, $600, you need to be okay with that initially, because it's going to help in the long run. Like I've done that multiple times. Like I've put in my own money to rent a studio, to get a model.
Renting
and
gear
it's paid
too.
off.
Yep.
Yeah, renting gear, whatever you need to do.
Yep. I agree. For sure.
Yeah, and then, to beat the horse or whatever the saying is, to beat the dead horse. Yeah.
I don't like that phrase. We need to come up with a new one for that, because I don't like that. I don't need that visual.
Because we've talked about spec work a lot on this podcast, but I 100% stand by it because it has directly gotten me work. So I've done spec work so basically to tie it into the portfolio, my current portfolio, on that confidence scale of, 0 to 10, I would say I'm about a 9. So I'm comfortable where I am. I'm very happy with my current portfolio because the niche I'm in is, I would say, health, wellness, and beverage products. And the majority of my content in my portfolio fits that niche. It might not be everything. I might have a few other random things in there, but at least the majority of it is targeted at my proper niche. And that's what I cared about the most, just being at least the majority. So that's one. And so I've been doing these product shoots for well over a year now, and I shot spec work well over a year ago. And that spec work is still some of my best work. And I've gotten direct comments from clients saying, we really liked the style of this shoot. It happened to be a spec shoot. And so that spec work that I did a year ago is still paying off today because it's good enough. It fits my niche. I show it to my potential clients and they have directly commented on multiple of my spec shoots.
Yeah, that's awesome. It definitely is the gift that keeps on giving when you have a shoot and you just nail it and you're able to display it and people comment on it and you'll get genuine reactions. I mean, another thing I wanted to say was now that you have built that portfolio and you have some clients, whether it was free shoots or not, I would say only display the work that you want to attract because, and we've talked about this before, but if you're in the business, you're going to get some shoots that might be one-offs, which is great, but you might not want to do that kind of work all the time. So I would recommend, as tempting as it is to want to post all the time on social media, I would say, don't post it if you have no intention of shooting anything like that ever again, because people are going to look at that and say, oh, she shoots family portraits. Like, I'm going to hit her up for my family shoot. Like, and that's not what you want to do. So only post the stuff that you actually want to get as clients.
Right. And we were talking about this off the mic. This is an issue that we both run into in terms of our social media. We always preach, be consistent on social media, blah, blah, blah. Everyone knows that. we've been the opposite.
The last couple
Not
months
to our like
have been rough.
It's been a little rough, but
been
basically
busy.
the reason behind this, or one of the reasons behind this, is some of the work we've done recently have been a little bit outside of our niches.
Yep.
So strategically, we are purposely not posting about them, even though, yeah, they happened and, we did a good job on them. We got paid for them. It's not stuff we want to continue doing.
Yep.
So we don't want to market ourselves as people who do that type of work. Hence why we are not posting about it on social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you brought up a good point too. Like a lot of the times for our shoots, we want to have behind the scenes and showcase some of that stuff of the process and everything. And you had mentioned to me that one of the shoots you didn't even bother shooting any behind the scenes because it's not something that you want to showcase.
Yeah, I knew right then and there I was never no offense to the company I was working with, but it was not going to see the light of day on my social media.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean you take the shoot any less seriously. It's just, in the back of your head, you can kind of almost relax a little bit and say, okay, I don't necessarily need any behind the scenes of this. Like it's all good. I'm just going to focus on the client work.
I can fully focus on the actual work. Yeah. Because when I am doing, something in my niche and I'm actively trying to get behind the scenes to help market myself, it's hard. I have to, like a part of my brain has to be designated to, is the behind the scenes camera rolling? Can we change up the angle of the behind the scenes? Like always behind the scenes something.
Yeah.
And that takes me out of like being in the zone of filming and like getting the actual shoot done. So when I don't have to focus on that, I can put all my effort into the shoot. So it's actually probably the opposite. I might be able to focus more on those shoots outside the niche because I'm not focused on BTS all the time.
You know what I just got?
What?
The Meta glasses.
Oh, you got them?
I got the Meta glasses. Yeah. I got them a few weeks ago and I've used them on a couple shoots. And it's so funny because I wear contacts. I don't wear glasses. But I do have them like at night when my contacts aren't in, my glasses are on because I'm freaking blind without them. So I put them on and I was using it for the first time at a wedding it was the photo wedding. I just wanted to kind of test them out because again, I'm no longer doing photo weddings. So I don't know if I'll necessarily post the BTS because I'm not shooting photo weddings.
Right.
But I wanted to see how the glasses would work. So I had the glasses on and I'm shooting and I look back at the footage and my hair is just covering the camera. Like my hair was blowing everywhere and it just was getting in the way of the glasses. And then you do have to like kind of keep your head up, obviously, to see what you're shooting. And sometimes like my camera's down here and I'm looking down and I'm not seeing what's happening up here. So there are definitely a couple nuances that I'm working through. But for the most part, they're so freaking cool because you can just literally like, the only downside is it only records up to 60 seconds. But for most moments, that's pretty good.
Little bursts, yeah.
So, and it records vertical footage. It's all vertical. So you just have to press and hold down. I should have brought them. You just have to press and hold down and it starts recording. And you don't even have to think about it, except you have to think about keeping your head up. But I think that's just something that you have to get used to. Do
you think you'll actually start implementing this more for BTS capture?
Yeah. I think it'll be so fun. I'm excited. Because it's just something that you don't have to set up a phone or another camera to do. It is one less thing to think about. It's one less thing. So I'm really excited about them. Yeah, because as of right now, I have to I set up my phone on my phone tripod, which then takes away my phone, and sometimes I have to refer to my phone. So then I have to whip out my iPad, which is just a bigger thing, to just like refer to my stuff or like my Milanote boards and stuff like that. Yeah. Or I have to hire a full-on person to come be my BTS designated person. Yep. So these help a lot. So I'll let you know. We'll do an update in the next episode of what we think of the Meta glasses. But yeah, I'm really excited about them because BTS is definitely something that people are interested in seeing a lot. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, a little side tangent. No, that's okay. That's okay. That's it. I didn't know you had this. Yeah, so I just got them. I'm really excited about them. They're fun. Okay, I'm trying to think back on how can we bring this back to. I know. What were we talking about? Only post the clients that you want to attract. Yeah, that's really it. We brought that home. We beat that dead horse. I'm so sorry to this horse. I don't like it. We got to figure something out because I don't like it. Not a good saying. I'm not okay with it. I don't think I had anything else on this other than like keep your website updated. Like, I don't know. I need to do mine. I haven't updated it since I created it and launched it, I think like earlier this year. So I need to practice what I preach and do it. I'm trying to do it quarterly.
I'm like in my website, I try and be like every other week.
Wow.
I'm in there doing something.
Oh my God. I am slacking.
Whether it's adding new content or just like experimenting, moving things around. I got this from, we talked earlier about those expensive online programs and stuff like that. So I'm still in Paul Weaver's program. And something he talks about is he's in his website editing probably once a week, if not more. So I really adopted that from him, and it definitely helps. Like maintaining everything up to date. If I shoot a product thing, as soon as it's done, it's on. And then I'm constantly experimenting with just where I'm placing things on my site. So like the way I have it set up is I have 4 columns across and like a handful of rows. And I will constantly switch out like which ones are on the top to see which one's going to perform better.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. Yeah. So just keep your stuff updated. Use your social media as a portfolio too. That's what I like to say. I tell people, I not only send potential clients, who are inquiring to me, my link to my website, but I also say, check me out on social media if you haven't, because that's where the most recent stuff is going to be. And it's also where like the BTS is and like kind of some of the personal stuff. So, to give them like a full glimpse, I do send them to my socials as well.
Yeah, I think that's good for the BTS stuff. And then ensuring your portfolio, your website is up to date. That's where you can see the finished version of the BTS stuff.
Yeah.
And I think having both really complete so they can, see that more personal touch on the social media, maybe those more informal reels that you might be posting. But then when they see the full thing from that BTS, that's when it can really fully connect with them.
Yep, for sure.
But you can, you might not be getting a ton of inbound leads directly off your portfolio, like on your website, but you can still leverage the portfolio in many other ways just by sending direct links to people to be like, oh yeah, here's my website to check it out. You don't have to fully rely on just waiting around. Actually, you should not be doing that. You should not be just waiting around for anyone to just find your website.
Right.
You should actively be sending it out to people.
Right.
And I still recommend I build separate pages for my targeted niches, I guess. So I have a full portfolio page that has everything, but then I also have a beverage page that only has beverage related content. So if I'm ever doing outreach towards any beverage brand and they want content and I want to show them what I can do, I don't send them to my full website. I send them to my beverage page directly.
Smart. Yep. Different landing pages. Yeah, I have that for some ads that I run for restaurants, gyms, and then weddings, which I'm still kind of in the works and going to have to update the wedding page after these last couple of videos are done. But yeah, that's a great point to have separate pages for different things.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to leverage the portfolio, to be strategic about it. If you have niches, have pages for the niches. Because if I'm shooting for a beverage brand, they don't necessarily care if I have, maybe some random corporate thing that might just be there, which I don't. But for example, they don't care about corporate stuff. They care about beverage stuff. So if I just do the work for them, put it all in one place,
make it easier for them.
It's that simple.
Yep, for sure. I like that.
So yeah, that's pretty much it how to attract, or I guess maybe not attract, maybe how to leverage your portfolio to, potentially help you get clients.
Yeah.
There are a few ways that you can actually maybe directly use it, but we can maybe get into those. Those are more in the weeds. So we'll get into those on a different day. That's pretty much it for this one.
Yeah. Let us know if you have any questions about anything that we talked about, and submit your questions, hot takes, comments, anything that you want to either hear us talk about or want us to read out loud on the podcast. It's anonymous, so no worries there. But we're going to do an episode where we read some submissions. So let us know what you thought. Hit us up on Instagram and subscribe on YouTube. Give us 5 stars on Spotify. We would really appreciate it. And let us know what else you want to hear on the pod.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.